This is a quick demo of a TiDB and Snowflake e-commerce application. You can go to GitHub and get the code that supports this application, and that link will be in the description. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to the TiDB e-commerce demo. We've made this demo available via GitHub. You can go to the TiDB Snowflake e-commerce demo under Mini 256. Next, if we take a look down here, we can see all the files that are in our GitHub. Feel free to pull those and start using them if you like. Next, let's go to our e-commerce demo tab. This demo implements an e-commerce environment that uses TiDB Cloud for its transactional layer and Snowflake database for its data warehouse layer. Why did we spread the data over two systems? Well, TiDB, and this includes TiDB Cloud, is not a data warehouse environment. It is designed to handle transactional environments and make this rapidly changing data available for SQL queries. TiDB Cloud is a cloud-native distributed SQL database that supports hybrid transactional analytical processing. TiDB Cloud is built upon TiKV, a NoSQL key-value store that can scale out and scale in. TiDB Cloud is an ACID-compliant database that can handle petabytes of data. TiDB Cloud is available on AWS and Google Cloud Platform. It offers high performance, linear scalability, and high availability. TiDB Cloud integrates with other AWS and GCP services for ease of management and deployment. In fact, you can launch a TiDB cluster in minutes and start using it immediately. But let's get back to our demo. As we can see, we have an application layer, and in that application layer we have orders and express, and we see an arrow pointing down to the data center, and this data center is going to be our real-time integration layer. And this data center is comprised of TiDB. Now it doesn't say it, but it's TiDB Cloud. And what we're doing is we are serving data, we have single views of data and real-time analysis. And we have hybrid load applications that are doing data-intensive application loads back into the data center from the data warehouse. And speaking of the data warehouse, we can see that it is on Snowflake. So we have Snowflake, which is doing cold data storage, ETL is handled there, and machine learning is running there. When we say ETL, we mean that the data from TiDB is being written from TiDB into Snowflake, cold storage. It's also off to the right, you can see that there's data being written, from Snowflake back into our TiDB database. Next, we're going to scroll down to endpoint and create a new endpoint. To make it easy, let's open it in a new browser window. So we will use Gitpod to do this work. While we wait for it to initialize, let's talk about Gitpod. Gitpod allows you to spin up automated development environments in the cloud. Plus, thanks to its integration with GitHub, Gitpod makes it easy to collaborate with other developers or run demos such as this one. We'll see that Gitpod empowers you to kick off and then begin coding in your browser. Gitpod is pretty cool. You may want to check out their webpage to see what it's all about. Okay, so Gitpod has come up. So if you take a look at the top left, you'll see our demo environment. We've seen this before, but you'll notice that everything that was in GitHub is listed there. And in a second, what we'll do is we will generate our environment, and we'll use the gitpod.yaml file, which is right above the license file there, and it'll actually create our environment for us. Let's go ahead and start this up. All right, so we're sitting here looking at the environment instantiate. We can look at the front end and we can look at the back end. And the messages that you're seeing scroll there are the environments coming up. And if you look over here, it is, as I mentioned before, coming from our YAML files and Docker files, and that's what's being instantiated here, and that's what we're going to use for our demo. And so you can see TiDB scroll by there. That's the TiDB database. Started in a simple browser, and we can see the TiDB and Snowflake demo there. And then we can see our endpoint, and we're going to copy that, and we're going to put it back into our demo. So that's how we got, that's a lot of work to get that endpoint, but you know, it's pretty easy with Gitpod. So what we're going to do now is we're going to connect to TiDB. We're going to enter this. If we're going to use TiDB Cloud here, if you've already got your environment, you can go ahead and connect to it. You'll have all the information you need, but you may want to create a TiDB Cloud account, and you can do that using that link right there. So you can see that you can go through walkthrough, and walkthrough will describe how to go ahead and do the TiDB work. So here is our TiDB Cloud, and on the previous screen we had localhost, so we need some information in order to connect to TiDB Cloud. So if we look at cluster 0, which is the one that we'll use, and we'll click the Connect tab, and what that'll do is it'll give a connection information for that specific instance of TiDB Cloud. Now we need this host name for our endpoint, so we'll copy it. You can find all sorts of other information up here. You can do traffic filters you'll need to open up so that you can get to it. And in this case, we're using a CIDR with all zeros, which, you know, is fine for testing, but would not want to do that for a real environment because it's not secure. But you have to make sure you do that or it won't work. So once again, we go back here and we copy the host name here, and we will replace localhost with this. We're going to create a new database for our environment to use. We're going to name it demo. And since it wasn't in the list, you know, it'll create this. Notice our TiDB username is root, and we're going to give it a password, super secret password. We're not going to share that. And then we hit the button and we are connected. The next thing we're going to do is create a schema for our demo. Click Show Table. And we will see the tables that will be created as part of this demo. Notice the schema name was demo as well. We'll select Continue. Next, we need to put data into that schema, so we'll import it. This is all part of the demo. And notice it's importing tables, multiple tables at a time. So we'll keep going, and there's one's finished. The others should finish here pretty soon. Scroll down just a bit. Yep, those are the ones that are still running. I need to learn how to keep the mouse pointer still. Another one's finished. Wonder if they'll finish in order. Let's see. Order, and then express data will be the last one. So now we'll click Continue again since we've got all of these done. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to connect to Snowflake. So we just did all our work in TiDB. Now we're going to do the same type of thing for Snowflake. To be honest, this will take a little while because, especially if you don't have a Snowflake environment, because you have to go to Snowflake and create one, you can click Walkthrough and it will walk you through the steps required to do this. And as we scroll down, you can see. Scroll back up, and the account is free for 30 days, and it gives $400 worth of credits. And you'll want to select Enterprise here. And we're running on AWS, so we'll make sure we've chosen that one. So our next step is to scroll down a little bit, and they'll send an email. Snowflake will send an email, and we'll get the host name from that, and we'll enter it in here. So the next thing we need to do is look at the Snowflake management page. And this is an example. We will go to a different tab up here. Let's go to Databases. And now we're at the Snowflake database website. And here is our database. So if we go back here, what we'll need to do, next thing we'll do is we'll go back to our e-commerce demo, scroll down, and we need to make sure we're under Admin and then Partner Connect. And then we're looking for ETL Leap, which is a system that we're going to use to do our demo. So here we go, and here are the ETL Leap accounts and schema names and warehouse names and whatnot. This is how we're going to connect and do our ETL from TiDB into Snowflake. And you'll notice that it takes, all sorts of information. So we have a partner account that has been created, and then we'll set up with an ETL account. And after we get all this done, we will be connected to Snowflake. And there's an example of what we'll need to connect. So we scroll down here. We are connecting, making sure that we can connect via ETL Leap. So we go to the Snowflake host, we have to add the account. We need to change some of these things. Some of them we won't change because we're selecting the default. Notice we have public in the Snowflake schema. Now remember back, we actually used demo for this, so we will absolutely change this one. And we'll spell it right as well. There we go, demo. Scroll down, we have our Snowflake SQL user, test TT, and then password. Make sure you remember all these. Easy to forget them. And we wait, and we wait, and we wait. This will take a few seconds. Now we've completed. So now we need to create the Snowflake schema. And if you notice, this user interface is pretty nice in that it walks you through everything that you need to do. So let's go ahead and create the Snowflake schema. Give it a second, another second, a little bit more time. This will depend on your network connectivity and all this kind of good stuff. It shouldn't take too awfully long, but it will take longer than just a second or two. So we'll keep waiting. There we go. So we'll go and click the show table. There we go. And there are all our tables that ETL Leap created. Alrighty, so let's go continue. Continue, there we go. Congratulations, you've successfully connected TiDB and Snowflake. So next we're going to create a pipeline from Snowflake to TiDB. So let's click continue to continue. There we go. Hopefully it won't take as long this time to get from one screen to the other. All right, so here we are. All right, so we're at the console page right now. So here at the left, you can select where in the console you want to go. And here's our endpoint, and notice that you can edit this. From this page, we can get to GitHub, and we can go to tools like ETL Leap to import data from TiDB to Snowflake. So we go back to Partner Connect. All right, so we'll close that and show you how to get to it. So we go to Admin, Partner Connect, ETL Leap. We click on that, and then we select Launch, and that's going to bring up ETL Leap. And we see MySQL is ETLing like nobody's business. This is our system. We want to check our connections. This is the connection we want to use to Snowflake. We're going to select Create. So which source would you like to ingest from? MySQL, because TiDB is a MySQL variant. We're going to give it the correct name here, TiDB. And we will say demo, because that's what we're doing. And then we'll take a look at the methods that we want to use. And we're going to use a direct. The address, we're going to have to go back and get that address. All right, so there it is, and our port number is going to be 4000 because that's a TiDB port number that's by default. And we are not going to use an SSL certificate. It's telling us we couldn't authenticate because we didn't have a user ID and password, so we'll use root with our password. And now it's validating our information, and it's going to come back. There we go. We don't want to save that. So the database name for ETL Leap is demo. Select next. And it's going back and validating all this behind the scenes. Nice. So that worked. Additional properties. I'm going to skip over that. and we're going to create the connection. The additional properties, if you had some atypical things you needed, you could add it there. All right, here we go. Now it says MySQL, but remember it's TiDB here. And next we're going to pick the tables to import. And what it's doing now is it's creating our table list. And here we go. So we're going to do express, items, users, orders. Got to go back and do users. There we go. So 4 tables. Next, where should we load the data? This is going to be Snowflake. Use existing schema. We could have created a schema here, but we've already done that. And which one do we use? We are going to, we didn't do a default schema on initial page, blah, blah, blah. We have to do something manually here. Otherwise, you can't choose the one you want. So in other words, we don't have permission to do what we need to do. So we are going to have to go into a Snowflake worksheet and issue a command. It's a pretty simple command. In fact, we copied it from the other page there. So we select the database, which is demo. There we go. Go back and we're going to get that command here. So it's a grant all privileges on schema e-commerce to a new role. Pretty easy to do. And we'll submit this and it'll come back fairly quickly. We do need to change the schema to demo. We got to keep that in mind. That's an easy mistake to make. And we see that the statement executed successfully, which is exactly what we thought. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it to reload, refresh the schema list, and then demo is going to show up. There it goes, perfect, demo. So we'll select that, click next, and here we go. And it's got some smarts behind it so it can map the tables together based on name. If we'd have named them totally different, we'd have had to go in and manually associate them, but that's not what we do here. We could edit the settings if we wanted to. Here we go. We're going to add some ID columns or some create time columns so that we know when data was added to the data warehouse. And then we'll select next. And we are told that we were not creative and we need to change our name. So we're going to select a prefix. And instead of MySQL, we're going to say TiDB and demo. There we go. So now we'll click it again and it's going to work. Alrighty, so we look around. We hesitate to start because we're always scared something's going to go wrong during a demo, but I believe we're going to be perfectly successful with this. And this may take a while. Shouldn't be too bad. So what it's doing right now is creating the pipeline. There we go. So the integration is complete, which is good. We go back to home here. Okay, so we have a new entry here. This is the one we just created. And over here we have progress, and this takes anywhere from 30 minutes to a couple of hours. So we're not going to wait for this. We are going to pause this while it catches up. And we're back. Okay, so as we can see, here is our active source. We've had 4 pipelines run. Let's go to the pipeline. And we will scroll down and we're going to perform offline analysis on Snowflake, which is just a fancy way of saying that we are going to run some SQL queries on Snowflake. Alrighty, so take a look at the SQL. Got a join in there with some averages and a bunch of other stuff. And we click on it. And it runs, it runs, it runs. And I literally just let that run just so you could see how long it took. It took 18 seconds. All right, we have another one that we're going to run here. these don't take so long that we can't just sit and wait for them. Okay, so that one's 6.5 seconds. And then we're going to run one more. All right, there we go, 5.42 seconds, success. All right, at this point, we're going to take some of the data we calculated in Snowflake and write it back to TiDB. So we'll click the write back button. And we need to wait for these two jobs to complete. There we go, one's finished. And now the second one's finished. So what we've done is we've written back hot items to TiDB and we've written back user labels to TiDB. And you can see the cost back there. The second job was more expensive than the first. Now we're going to go to recommended items and look at the recommended items. These are parts of our e-commerce demo. This is the actual demo. So we've used random photographs here, and the name is kind of makes you want to go and look and see what that is. So we're going to do some filtering by users. Remember, we wrote the user labels back. So we will go to Meek Moises, whoever that is. And these are the items recommended. So the user label is low. So you can take a look and clear the filter. We'll select somebody else. And you can see the items are changing based on who we're using. So it's figured these things out, recommended items, by the users. All right, these first two have been low. The user label is low. We want to select one that's high, and the high is based on the cost. You notice the price change. So there we go, needs interns has a user label of high. You can scroll down here and just take some looks at these things. We go back to the dashboard. So notice we've changed the amount, we've refreshed it, and now it was 307.51, now it's 307.68. And we can take a look at the orders and all that kind of good stuff and see all these values that were calculated as part of our demo. And then here we can see sales items by type. We'll scroll down and just take a look. Then we can see the top 10 high prices and top 10 low prices. And today's orders, this is flatlined because it's a demo and there's no active ordering going on at this moment. So the longer you run this demo, the better that line will look. We've only been running it for like 2 minutes and there hasn't been not a lot of activity. So run it longer and you get a more realistic look here. So let's go to customers. We can scroll down here and we can see our user labels. And some of these should look familiar. We take a look at the items and we can see all the items. And orders, we get a list of the orders. And this concludes the demo. During this demo, we've used TiDB, Snowflake, we've used GitHub. GitHub is where the actual source and all the configuration information for the demo is. We've used Gitpod as our development environment in order to bring it up and get it all running really quickly. It's quite impressive, to be honest. And then ETL Leap, which helped us with our data migrations. And at the end, we went through some websites and saw some of the activity that was going on. We hope you enjoyed this demo. Thank you.